If you're in high ticket sales or you'd like to sell something high ticket for $1,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 online, this video is going to teach you exactly how you can make that happen. We're breaking down our exact step-by-step framework that's actually responsible now for over $40 million in high ticket sales. We have about a decade's worth of experience doing this. We've boiled it all down into a step-by-step framework that we walk you through top to bottom and teach you how to put it to use in this exact video. As always, guys, smash that subscribe button if you're looking to build a digital empire, an online business, if you're looking for that freedom. I'm going to give you guys on this channel every single week value that you would have to pay tens of thousands of dollars for anywhere else. I know, because we've not only paid that much money to learn some of this stuff, but we've also charged that much money for it. Now we're giving some of this stuff away to you so that we can just give back to the community. So if you want to be a part of that journey, if this is something that you want to take in, all you got to do is smash that subscribe button so that you can join hundreds of other GSD people who have become success stories. Now you get to do it just by watching these videos for free on YouTube. So smash that subscribe button and let's dive in to our $40 million sales framework.
Organic is awesome. Paid traffic is awesome. All traffic is awesome in its own right. And the way they get to you, that's how you're going to know whether you're going to be able to do. I'm going to just kind of pivot a little bit as I go through this presentation, just based on what I'm seeing. It's also how well the market knows you, whether you're going to close them on one call or more calls. We're a big fan of kind of diving into that and just kind of determining that on the call as we see how the call is going, what their willingness is, what their desire is to move forward. And if we feel that we're putting a little bit too much pressure, we back off and we kind of lean back, and then we're back into best friend mode and just trying to do more discovery to feel like and kind of identify the consequences of inaction. So whenever we're doing like a one call versus two call close, one call, the question I'll ask, and you'll see this through the presentation, is like what prompted you to want to hop on this call today? Or if they came from an ad, what about our ad attracted you to want to take this call today? That will tell me some information, because now they're saying it. They're telling me why they appeared. And sometimes they give me some gold, like, hey, I saw your ad. I saw the offer. It's solid. I followed you before, and now I want to get on a call and see what this whole thing is about. Or they may just say, hey, I just saw the ad. I clicked it and we're here. If scenario one, where they're more familiar, they're more excited, in my brain, now I'm going into one call mode. And if they're just like, hey, I just clicked the ad, now I'm going into two call mode. Now I'm going to do something called the triage, and I'm going to probably stop it in and around 20 minutes. And then through the call, I'll feel them out a little bit more. And if it's safe to do a one call transition or close, then I'm going to go into that process. It's just the desire for that client based on the questions I ask them. So here, just take a look at this screen really quick. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water, but this will give you the time frames of what each section may take you. This is not an exact science. This is just our own internal stuff that we like to keep things in and around. Otherwise, we feel we may be rambling too much. Or we may be going off topic when we certainly don't need to be going into a totally different direction. So before going into sales, because when I was doing sales early on, or I had very little clients and I wanted to make a lot of money, and my goals were so high and lofty, and I wanted to kill them, and I was getting frustrated. I wasn't getting the result. I was putting all this energy out, little output back in. So it wasn't the throughput didn't equal my bank account. It wasn't happy. And it came down to more of a mindset. I was being greedy. I was all about myself. I only wanted me to win. So the mindset and preparation is extremely important, to think that you can help other people achieve their own goal. And that's why I have the greatest of all time, two of the greatest of all time right here. Michael Jordan. These pictures mean a lot, because Michael Jordan, that's like the sickest he's ever been. And I think he dropped 55 in that game. It's because his mindset is strong. He can withstand difficult circumstances and still pull through for his team. So the fans, everybody can follow him and he can win. Same thing with Kobe Bryant. When he was at the worst, at the pit, like like at the end of his career, he tore his Achilles tendon. The man didn't even look like he was even injured. He's probably more fit than anyone in the world. And he walked back up and just drained a couple buckets and walked off the field. So yeah, I might as well put LeBron up there too. Yeah, I'm going with my retired GOATs right now. But my point being is, like, mindset and preparation is absolutely imperative, because as salespeople, it's so easy to go in a downward slump where you can just think like, why that person and not me, when that person on social media sucks. I know they suck, but they're making sales. It's because they're just fighting through it. They're practicing more than other people. And that's what it all takes. This stuff doesn't come natural. Sales and any skill set is a learned behavior. Like the top surgeons in the world weren't just natural surgeons. They have the skill set. They have the brain capacity. They gave up a lot of things to be the best. They gave up the Netflix, their friends, the parties, the drinking, whatever it may be. They didn't self-sabotage. They just went through and just crushed it. And that's really mostly what sales is about, is just staying the course and just staying really, really mind strong. So these are some things that you may come across. Tell me in the chat, does any of these sound familiar? Like when you're talking about it at the very end, like, or abruptly, like where before you're even done. Let me think about it. I'll get back to you. I have to talk it over with my partner. He didn't know they had a partner. I don't have the money. It's way too expensive. Timing. It's coronavirus. It's the end of the year. It's Christmas. It's whatever time. It's fucking Tuesday. The competition does the same thing, but for half the price. Does all that stuff, any of this stuff sound familiar to you guys? Have you ever heard it? Have you lost sales off of it, or feel like you've lost sales? Because we all know that this stuff is coming. It's just a matter of preparing ahead of time for it and just having open, honest conversations. And we'll go into that in a bit.
So, like, as you can see, Rule's about to dive into some more of this, but as you can see on here, a lot of these things revolve around the same things, number one, and you can see that every person in here constantly has objections that they feel like they can't get past. This system, this process that we're talking about today, and the stuff that we teach in our bigger picture stuff, right, is the stuff that helps you get the confidence to be able to move past this. But this kind of stuff right here, guys, is good to make sure you're not only recording all of this down, but you know where your bottlenecks are so that you can tell people and get past that. So I love it. Competition does this on a referral basis. Need to close a deal or two. Yep, heard that one a million times, Jesse. That's a common one as well. Cool, guys. Keep participating. Keep dropping that down below. I'll let Rahul keep going.
Yeah, and just going back to the two greatest, winning attitude. This is the outcome. When you put in the fruits of your labor, this is what happens, because everybody's in a different stage of their journey. Some of you guys may be doing this for a long time, whereas some of you guys may be just getting started, and success is not like a specific time in the future. You get to determine it. So the more calls, the more traffic, the more offers, and the more you practice these sales, the more swings at the bat. And you don't have to really go into closing ratios, because I know that there's absolute killers out there that are closing at 90%, and there's other people closing at 1 or 10%. A close is a close, and the revenue is the revenue. Your goals are yours. Don't judge yourself against other people. Just keep putting in the reps, and this is going to be your outcome. You're going to be walking off the court like Mr. Jordan over here with just a free throw line, maybe a push off, and walk off into the sunset. And then Kobe Bryant, in my opinion, the greatest to ever live, just knocking down 5 championships. So just my point being is, I'm always going to reiterate this. It's going to be determination, because you guys are entrepreneurs. You guys are crazy in your own right to be able to want to withstand starting your own business, freeing your own income, having no ceiling. And it comes down to sales. It comes down to being able to get a customer that has a pain big enough that they're willing to solve it with you guys. And that's our version of championships. It's clients. It's people we satisfy and keep, not people we churn and burn. So I won't be going into like retention and upselling and all that kind of stuff. We keep that for our private course. I'll just be going over a sliver of what we teach into the sales process. So Cody, you want to go over your namesake's story here, because we're going to be talking through his lens?
100%. So we call this guy Other Cody for reasons that we won't get into. But yeah, no, this guy, as we showed you guys, all right, up at the very top, what we helped him do by creating the full puzzle, by getting that whole thing going, that's what really got him over the course from where he was to where he got to, which was $100,000 plus months. But when he first started talking to us, one of the beginning things we had
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll take over Cody's part. Hopefully, I'm the host here. Yeah. So, anyways, with Cody May here, he started with us, and he was just kind of trying to fix the agency up. And I mean, ultimately, he was about to just take a big whack of clients that were. Looks like we had a. Oh, share the screen again. So anyways, so with Cody May, he was taking a big whack of clients that were just non-renewable. And what we helped him put in place is a sales process with him and his team. And Cody was taking a whack. We put a sales process in place. We just understood the lay of the land, how he's getting his traffic, what he's saying on the phones, listens to some of his process, because then we were able to diagnose like what's the big issue that he's facing. And the big issue was the sales process was not emotional. It was not getting people to want to buy this thing, get excited and amped up. It was just the same feature benefit kind of stuff, which isn't wrong. That's the way it's taught in books. It's the old school way of selling. I'm a big fan of it. Feature benefit, go ahead and try to hard sell it. Those are always alternative options. They just don't work as well because it puts a lot more pressure on yourself to be able to justify why you versus more pressure on the client to make them think, well, why do I have to do this now? And why do I have to do it with you? So they're justifying to you why they need this, why this is the right solution, and why they should go forward now because the consequences of inaction would go higher. So that's why we were able to help him gain all these ridiculous numbers where he's hitting 100K months and just starting off no different than anybody else, losing clients, just on a roller coaster ride. And then it turned into upsell city, 2K clients, 7K clients, 10K a month clients. So he just started coming up with these creative ways to be able to help get his sales process intact. And then we helped him knowledge transfer that to a team. We helped him build out the setters and the messenger strategy, and then a salesperson who I don't know if Janesh is on here or not, but he's in our private group, but the guy's now a cold-blooded killer when it comes to sales. He's just a very, very tenacious salesperson where he's going from maybe one close every couple of weeks to one close every single other day. Like yesterday, I think he announced like 4 or 5 different sales he had already had in the week. Okay, so here's the keys. We're going to get into some of the meat and potatoes here. We're going to go, I'm going to whip through these really quickly. So keep your energy high, but not so high where you're jumping out the phone, talking super fast. You're more excited than they're excited. So slow it down a little bit, but keep your energy right. Okay, so get pumped up, listen to your favorite Rocky Balboa song or whatever it is gets you pumped up. Just get ready for the call. It's just a quick warm up like an athlete. And then if you smile, everybody smile for me really quick, nice and big smiles, like get yourself in a good mood because this is what's going to make you smile. That thrill when you close a deal, there's nothing like it. Regardless of size, wins are wins and we want to celebrate them, even if it's for a minute. But you got to smile because that's what we're here to do. We're here to transfer energy on the call, and they can tell if you're boring as shit. They can tell if you slept like shit. They can tell like a shark smells blood. People are not stupid. They can tell through the phone what your mood is, and based on your energy and how you react. I like speed and quality. We want to help run through these calls in a targeted time frame and reach as many people as we possibly can in a day. And that's where it takes, like running a mile. You may run one now in 10, 12 minutes. And if you keep running it and running it and running it, you'll get into a peak performance shape where you'll be able to do things much more effectively and efficiently. Stay organized and clear. So keep your notes. I use a pen and paper on every single call. So it's always right to the right of my desk. This is my sales pad. And then I transfer that information to the CRM, or I have somebody transfer it for me. So it's important that you do that. And then keep your reporting intact. We use Excel sheets for end of day reports for everybody. So we know how many demo calls, how many no shows, how many showed, what's our closing ratio, what's our revenue like, because we have a pulse on everything. Because now when we go to our own mentors or we talk in our own internal conversations, we can now say we had 86 book calls. We closed this percentage of all the calls that showed up. So we have actual data that can tell us what our reporting is. previously it was just a clusterfuck of mess. It was like, I think I'm at this, I think I did that. And then when you're in that zone, you really don't have, your goals are going to be really kind of jacked up because you're not organizing anything. So reporting is absolutely key. Communication is critical. If you need help, ask. If you're a solopreneur, you have no one on your team, you have people to ask to. You have groups, you have mentors, you have family members. So we're a big fan of communication. Since we have a team, we always have feedback loops on our systems and role playing, and everybody always gets help. And when we go into calls, we have the helping mindset, not the selling mindset. We're here to consult and add value. And then we want to ask very, very specific questions because we don't want to teeter around anything. We don't want to go too high level. Otherwise, we're just not going to be able to know the root cause of the pain. We'll be like, so we can't be scared is my point. We can ask the hard hitting questions because that will only allow us to find what their true pain is. So then we know what they're trying to really solve for. And then we use just empathy, just be cool to them, be conscious of their situations. We'll re-emphasize the pain point, provide a simple solution, and then check in often with questions like, does this make sense to you? How do you feel so far? Is this clear on how this all works? Are you sure? And then we go into asking for the sale. So there's a lot of background on this that I just went through. I mean, does this all make sense? The reason I like to go over this is because repetition is the mother of success. Sometimes you've heard it 100 times. Sometimes you've heard it the 101st time and it's going to resonate, or it just brings back things that are helpful. That's why I like to go a little bit slow. I am redundant on some of the things that I'm going to be saying just because it's that important. So we're gonna take out everybody, get your pen and paper out really quick. We're gonna all do this quick exercise together, and you can already see the questions I'm going to be asking. So write down your current situation. Actually, let's do this. Like grab the piece of paper, and then on the top left, write down your current revenue situation, and then draw a line all the way to the right side, and then write down where you want to be. That's going to be your numbers. So if you're at 2K now, and then you want to be at 10K, and then and on the top above everything, put the date of where you want to be there. So it could be 6/20/21. And then let's write down the gap. What's the gap in the middle? So if you said you're at $2,000 now and you want to be at $10,000, the gap is 8K per month. So write down the gap. You don't have to share the numbers. Don't worry. Cool. All right. Then I want you to times it by 12, guys. So if you wrote down 8,000 is your gap, times it by 12. So we know our run rate of what we need to go. So now we know our 12-month gap. So the 12-month gap, if you're at 2 going to 10, it's $96,000. So that's an extra $96,000 in cash flow that you want to create for yourself, for your lifestyle. Now, the next step I want you to write down, this is important. So, because this is the exercises that we go through ourselves. And that's why I'm doing this with you guys. It's going to be for something, I promise. So write down what's been distracting you or holding you back. And this could be self-sabotage things. What are the things you're doing that you know you shouldn't be doing? What are the things that are you missing that if you had in place would get you to that goal? And that could be anything you want. It could be whatever, a coach. It could be going out less. It could be, I need help focusing more. I need a role play partner. Write these things down, because without these distractions holding you back, therein lies your gap. That's what you're doing this for. You're not doing this for shits and giggles. We're doing this to be able to have freedom, vacation time, working 4 hours a day. I mean, I probably worked, I don't know, maybe 3 hours in the last 2 weeks, maybe more, maybe a little bit more. But point being is, write down what it is that you feel is holding you back so we can solve for that. And then that's going to be your more desired and your motivation to be able to just determine what that is so we can eliminate it. And then we can move on, because we just have to face like our problems head on. Otherwise, they're always going to remain problems. Okay, so here's the goals. Like, I guess I should have probably gone to this slide too. If you want to make 100K a year, what is that? Close 10 people for 1K. That's all. I mean, that's really not the hardest thing in the world. If we look at 12 months Can we all here agree that we can get 10 clients paying us 1K? So we're at 10K per month. That's 120K a year. Can you guys do that? 12 months. Can everybody here close 10 people in 12 months? That's 2,080 hours to get 10 people to say yes to us. And we're 6-figure fucking earners, ballers. And then we can scale from there. We can hire, we can get more people. We can do whatever we want. We can keep all the money. We can invest in other things. We can take the vacation. We can upsell, cross-sell clients, double the client database, maybe get that energy where this thing's actually going to fucking work out. And then you're like, holy shit, it's gotten simplified. Now I can take this thing to the whole damn next level. And we have our very own Ben on here too. So Ben's come a long way. Like I might even unmute you, Ben, for a minute and just put you on the spot, but I want to highlight him. I mean, he doesn't have any previous sales experience from working with us. He had customer service experience working for credit card processors and various other companies where there was no sale happening. It was just a matter of gaining information, entering information, distributing information. So it's more of an information booth and a distribution center of information comes to Ben, he distributes it, or people go, or it's just the opposite. So when we brought him on, we trained him just like we were going to be going through this exact same sales script on selling. So like, how's your experience been just working under us, and how long have you even worked for us, Ben? If you can come off mute for a second.
Started full time in May, so it was in the end of May. That's when we actually started going full time and started training and started setting, and then from setting we went to the sales. Setting was on fire and it was easy. Felt like it got easy and then it got hard again, and then went back to the drawing board. And even recently, full transparency, it got a little hard again lately, and went back to the drawing board with you guys and with some of the training that you've provided. And just today, this morning, I mean, 2 booked appointments and like a double close with 2 different campaigns for someone this morning. So, when it gets tough, you kind of just go back to the, we're going to have those days or those times or those weeks that the sales are not quite there. And even guys, like Jeremy Miner went on a live today too, just talking about the bad days or the bad slumps you have, and the mentality that you've talked about the same way. The Jordan and the Kobe mentality is the same thing. He talks about the same thing, and just assuming that, it's not always just us either, right? So when we go through those slumps like I did, it could have just been the people that we're coming across the time of month. You don't know what they're going through, a divorce, a loss of someone in the family, or what it might be. And maybe that just maybe it's not just us in that slump. And that's about it.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you, man. This has been just a killer for us, and just coming through. And like you said, there's good days, there's bad days, but the whole thing is mind strong. That's the one thing we can control, and then we just keep going.
Mm-hmm. Like you tell me all the time, just get out of your own head. Like the only person that holds yourself back in sales is your own self. Obviously, for the agency owners, it's a little different, but for me, selling for somebody else, it's like, the pressure of, selling for Rahul or selling for Cody or whatever it might be, the expectations that they have. It's like that was all in my head, because then I told Rahul, or you tell yourself, like, well, I want to do it for me anyways. It doesn't matter whether you're selling for yourself or for somebody else. It's get it out of your own head. And what do you always tell me? I forget.
If you're in your head, you're dead.
You're dead. Yes. If you're in your head, you're dead. And that happens to me a lot. And Rahul has to constantly remind me, hey, get out of that. So.
And what do we talk about training yourself on sales? Like how often do you have to train?
I mean, you have to like I think Jim Cathcart said it was 10,000 hours in order to become something. So assume that if you practice for 1 hour, train for 1 hour on something, take you 10,000 hours. And even 1 hour a day is still, you think it seems like it's tough, or that it'll be really easy, but it does get tough sometimes when you get busy in the day. But I know like Cody tries to time block certain things out for me too. And I tell him, don't time block me. I don't like that kind of control. I'll just do it on my own. And then you end up not doing it. So training is obviously keeping it important. If you're not training, somebody else is. Like going back to the sports stuff. It's, Jordan was out there shooting free throws while everyone else was, going out and partying or they were done with practice and they would go home and he would still out on the court. Kobe did the same thing until he made his 100 free throws at the end of practice where no one else would be left in the gym. He was still there. So if you're not doing it, someone else is doing it and someone else will beat you to it.
Totally. Thank you, man. Thanks for coming off mute. I'm gonna do this in a shorter version than I normally do. So what I want everybody to do is just kind of like just be uncomfortable if your camera's showing, no problem. We're all going to be doing this together. So just we're going to take some deep breaths. We're just going to do 5 big inhales through our nose, 5 big exhales through our mouth, and we're just going to exaggerate the shit out of this, like. So make some fucking noise. Who cares who's around you if you're in a workspace or whatnot? Just don't blow in someone's personal space, I guess. But let's go. Let's start it off right now with 5 big inhales. Right on 3. 1, 2, 3. Now close your eyes on the next 4. All right, keep your eyes closed for me, okay, guys? All right, so think about your goals that we just wrote down just a few minutes ago. Think about 12 months from today. You have that cash flow. You've reached all the goals you set for yourself, your personal goals, your financial goals. You're working with awesome clients. Your business is operating at peak performance. Your relationships with your clients, your family, your staff, your contractors, the ISAs, VAs, etc., is awesome. Everybody who's like annoying as shit to you, like relatives or clients that used to piss you off, now you're just at ease. You're at peace. You're like, man, this is working really, really well. I got my goal. Now think about how that really feels for you right now when you have all the things that you wrote down, you reached that goal. How much money would you have in your bank account? Like, how grateful and awesome do you feel to be like literally at the top of your goals that you worked so hard to get? All those years, all those months, all those hours, all now came out to something. Now think about the people who supported you, whether it's your family, your friends, your mentors. Like, how would you be grateful to them? Like, what would you tell them right now if they helped you get past the bottleneck, a difficult situation that helped you get to where you're at? Now, what would you do? Like, would you buy a car? Like, what are you driving? Maybe upgrade your home? Or would you take a vacation because you want to reward yourself because you work so hard? Now, let's just say you're walking down the street and you see the 12-month version of you right in front of you. So it's you today, 12-month versions right in front of you, and you're running up to him and her and you're getting closer. Like, what do they look like? What are they wearing? What's the confidence level now? What's that swagger look like? Now, take a look inside your business for a second here. Let's get a little lens going. But this time, everything's solved. All the bottlenecks, the SOPs are done. You have a process to get traffic and sell. You just walked in and everything's churning exactly the way you wanted it, when you wanted it. Your marketing is consistent. It's working great. Your leads are more qualified than being cold. Your technology is no longer a bottleneck. Your zaps all work. Your emails are firing, the text messages, etc. Sales are on point. It's like every conversation is awesome. It's like the perfect client. You finally have everything. You're Superman with no kryptonite. Like, how does that really feel? So now you're seeing this person right in front of you, the you that has no limit to your potential, no fear, no fear to take action, the person that just gets shit done. Now just step into their body, step right into it. So now that's you. You're in this state. You're in the future you, that perfect you. How does that feel? Like, do you feel confident, powerful, on top of the world? Now let's take that energy with us. And before you open your eyes, say this out loud. Cody, are you there still?
Yes, I am.
Do you want to do this part? I'll do it right here. Just keep your eyes closed. Keep your eyes closed. All right. So just chant this into your head. It's my time. Say this out loud really quick. I'll say it one more time. There's going to be a couple sentences. This is a Tony Robbins thing. And this is not to get all woo woo and rah rah and all that bullshit. I spent 5 days in Tony Robbins and I don't like dancing and I danced, didn't look very good. But the whole point was to face your uncomfort and face these feelings and scream at the top of your lungs, but we're not going to do that today. But this is what I want you guys to think in your head and write this down if you'd like. I want you to say, it's my time. I will not be denied. I add massive value and find a way to victory. So I'll repeat that again. If you want to say it to yourself, say it to yourself. Like these little chants psych you the fuck out. Just like when you see all those athletes balled up in a group before the game, right at halftime, at the end of the game, they're just getting themselves psyched out. So they're just convincing themselves. They're flipping a switch to go from calm person to like intense person, to just get their game face on. And this is important for life and for business and for sales calls, but we want to reach our goals. So I'll say it again. It's my time. I will not be denied. I add massive value and find a way to victory. Now, open your eyes. You guys feel okay about that? How do you guys feel? Because this is to get ourselves in state. Like if you follow Tony Robbins, he talk about state. It's a presence. Tired is a state of mind. Because there's days where you're working 24 hours and you're like high energy. You can't stop talking fast enough. And you're like, but then there's other days where you're like, oh, fuck, I'm sluggish. Oh, poor me. I'm tired. I got a shitty sleep, blah, blah, blah. Like those are all states. Because I can tell you this, because when I was sitting at that Tony Robbins event, everybody there was 2,000 people. Everyone was fucking amped up from 6 a.m. to about midnight or longer. And that's how long the days were. It started at about 8, but we got there early and you stay long. So state of mind is important. So let's kind of dive into why we're all here too. So I'm going to skip through that part. Now, how you're getting your leads. These are different lead sources: cold calling, Facebook 2-steps, paid ads, referrals, current clients, past clients, old leads, JVs, joint ventures, where you partner with another company that may have similar clients, which are also partnerships. There's now these Facebook groups that are starting to grow massively. You can partner with group administrators to get your message and your vision or your product and services out. And there's other methods like networking, traditional. I mean, there's tons of ways to get clients. These are very common ways. So that's how you get your leads. And then I'll let Cody kind of go over this one slide about just reiterating why we do this, why this stuff works.
Yeah, guys. So just to continue on with the story, right, with Cody May, what we did at the beginning, way back here, right, was to show you that when he shifted his mindset, started implementing these sales, he started to get these sales coming through, the 1Ks, the 2Ks, the 2K packages. Once he started to implement all of this to get the traffic through, even before taking it further to that next level, we started to see that a bunch of new stuff came in. Then, as Rahul mentioned, we actually helped train his team as well. You see this guy, Janish, right here, who is an absolute killer. This is the guy that started to use the process that Rahul is about to go through right now, and it took him to that next level. And you can see they started closing the retainers that you want to see. You can see that we were pillars to help them get through their success. You can see that this is when they really started to level up himself and his team to take it to that next level, to show that growth. And I just want to show you guys how this is a step-by-step thing where you're starting to close deals, you're starting to implement stuff, you're bringing your team in, everyone is moving forward. And then the final piece here for this piece of the puzzle is where Rahul can dive into the framework itself. And I'll show you guys how that helped him get to that next thing as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm going to kind of just take a step back out of presentation mode. Let me find the controls really quick. Cause I want to can you give me a screen share control?
I think I have to make you host for some reason. Cause it's
do that if you don't mind.
So let me stop clicking the screen.
Yeah, I'll stop clicking around.
And there. Okay, you're host.
Okay, I got to now find the damn control. Hang on, guys.
And guys, while he finds the controls, like I see Lance put "It's my time, damn it" in the chat, and I love it. I want to see a couple of other you guys say the same thing. Put the chant that Rahul said out loud down in the chat. I can't remember it word for word, but it's my time. I will not be denied, and I will find a path to victory. Like commit to that. Say those words. Type that shit down in the chat. Get a little amped up. Get some energy going. There we go. I love it, Frank. I love it, Celeste. Let's get that rolling. Get that energy and just commit to your own success. There's a reason this stuff sounds all woo-woo, but it actually works, and that's because it's stuff that gets your energy flowing. It's stuff that gets that mindset going, and it works. What's going on, Rahul? What are you trying to do? It on my computer.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I just found the controls. Sorry, I'm a little.
We good?
Yeah, I'm good. All right. So I'm actually just going to take you through the actual script itself. Some of you guys may have seen this that are if you're in our Inner Circle program, or in one of our programs, you may actually have access to this or something very, very similar to this. So some of you guys said you have difficulty with rapport. Rapport it shouldn't be difficult. That should be actually the simplest part of this whole process. And you can take a screenshot or look at these questions right here, but this is exactly what we ask. Like we'll ask something like, hey, well, if a call came in or we're calling somebody for our appointment. Hey, Rahul, how's your week going? I see you're calling from the 310. What are you in LA? Awesome. Cool. So great. I have the information you submitted to us from your survey right in front of me. When you book the call, is it cool if we dive right into it? Simple enough. That's it. Can all you guys handle that part? Like that's really all rapport is. We're not trying to be best friends with these people. We're just trying to feel out the tone, have a little common ground, get the conversation going. It's kind of like our warm up. Just like when you do the tip off, it's really simple. Now, I ask a pre-agenda question because I want to make sure that people are here. So I ask them something like this. Quick question. I don't want to assume anything, so I figure it's best to ask you right now. Are you currently looking for a better way to market your business and maybe attract other in-market clients for what it is you do? So a couple things there. Number one, I'm just making sure that they are still looking. They still have the problem. They're not just info seekers. But then I'm also using like a friendly tone to make sure that we're in the right place. Okay. And then I'm going to go into the next space. Like, hey, just out of curiosity, how are you referred to us? That's only if I don't know. If I don't know how they found us, I need to now know how they found us. That becomes important. Does anybody know why that's important? Because I just want to know how long and what their relationship is with us. Because clients will not give you the information always voluntarily. Because if they were referred to you, you want to know by who and what that relationship is, because that becomes important on how this conversation is going to go. So when we're referred clients from existing clients, it's going to be more of a possible lay down lead. And if we don't know that information, we may be going into conversations that they just don't need to hear about because their intention was to already hire us. And we just walked our way out of it because we brought things up in the conversation that we thought were relevant, but they really weren't. So how are you referred to us? And then say, oh, I saw an ad. Now that gives me gold. Oh, cool. What about the ad attracted you to want to hop on this call today? Then they'll tell me why they're there. Well, I saw the offer was awesome. Okay, cool. What else? And then they'll just tell me exactly what they're looking for. So once in the conversation, like when I call this, like you can see the file name, it says 8-step sales framework. It's not a script. A script is for actors like Robert De Niro or Brad Pitt. These are frameworks because they can certainly move around based on how early people give you the information that you need to know. Now, when somebody tells me like, you know what, I saw your ad, I like the offer, and I've just been looking for a solution. I'll say, well, okay, great. How long have you been looking for a solution? Like what's going on in the business right now that you haven't found one yet? and I'll dig deeper, and I want to go levels deeper. We chunk it down a little bit deeper because we want to figure out like why do they need more leads, or why do they need a better marketing system or automation system or a website? Because just because they say, oh, I need a better website doesn't mean you're done there. Now they've told you, saying, oh, out of curiosity, what are you looking for in the website for it to do so it's better? And then ultimately at the end of the day, you'll find out what the root cause of the real problem is. And then once you know that root cause, you can then solve for it. And that's the only way people will pay you money, is once you identify the problem, and then you can actually provide that solution. So once I'm done with this rapport section and I found out how they've found me, then I'll just set the tone. I'll say, so Ben, my intention for this call is to understand your current situation, the vision of where you want to take your business, say in the next 6 to 12 months, and any possible roadblocks that you think are in your way. Does that sound pretty good to you? Cool. Real quick, is there anything you want me to touch base on that's important for you for this call? Awesome. All right. Well, this will take about 30 minutes, and we'll have time for Q&A to all your answers or all your questions. And does that time frame work for you? Okay. Now, the reason I want to set the tone here is because, well, Frank, you mentioned, oh, I just want price. This sets the tone in the agenda. So when somebody tries to take us off track, we can bring it back on track. If you skip the agenda altogether, that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it. You can just tell your client, saying, no problem, we'll dive into pricing. You mind if I just ask a few more questions about your business so I can make the best recommendation for you? So you're just going to be using your tone and your body language, I guess. If they're not seeing you, then you use your own body language. I always move my hands regardless of where I am, but I'm just putting myself in the frame of mind that I'm the doctor or I'm their best friend. And the way I kind of make recommendations in general is as if it's my own dad. I'll be like, hey, Dad, like our sales are down. We need to get a method to get more leads. But then when we get a method to get more leads, like how are we going to track them and follow up? So I'm just kind of thinking in the lens of, if this was my relative and I wasn't benefiting monetarily from it, can I objectively make a good recommendation? And people will feel great about that. And that's why the sales process is more neutral for me, in the sense that I'm not really attached to the sale until I know that I can help this person. So you can't lose something you never had. So when people say they lost the sale, they didn't lose the sale unless like the money was already in your bank account and then they said, hey, give it all back to me. That's losing a sale. But if somebody just said no to you or made an objection and didn't choose you, that's not really losing a sale. That's more of they just never chose you to begin with. So that's why it's just important to just do your best to have that mindset of just helping, not pushing, and just really having a genuine curiosity of, can you even help them? So I'm going to jump into the discovery. So if you have not asked this question earlier on, I still have it here. So like one thing on one, I'm not going to switch screens, but on one of the slides that was the next slide after this, there's a Tom Brady slide, and like on his armband, you guys know what that is on his armband? Does anybody know what that is that Tom Brady puts on his armband? All quarterbacks have this, or the majority of them, from what I've seen in the NFL. These are the best athletes in the world that make it to the league. Those are cheat sheets. Those are plays. They have their notes scripted right in front of them. Same thing with salespeople. Like, have your armband ready. You don't memorize and try to like just blast this out and just do it on your own. You could do that if you're driving or very experienced. But for the most part, you want to have this thing open right in front of you and always available, so you follow a process. And I'm going to go through some of the questions that we use in the discovery process so we can unlock any roadblocks that are preventing people from reaching their goals and their desired situations. And then also let them know what will happen if things possibly stayed the same and nothing changed in the next 1 or 2 years. How would that impact business and life? So So if, when I go into the probing questions, like I'll dial in, like, do you feel that like right now is the right time for you to kind of make the move and start to maybe pivot ahead of your competition? So when I ask those questions, I'm using words like maybe, possibly. I'm not assuming anything. I'm not saying, like, if you like, I'm not doing these like, if I could, would, or these like old school dirty sales tactics where I'm just going to put pressure on them. I just want them to feel really comfortable answering questions and just saying, just out of curiosity, why is now the right time for you? Why do you think that this is the exact timing that could be the right time to change? And once they tell me, then I'll just dig into it. Like, but here's some probing questions. You can just keep asking these same questions on every question you ask. Like, what do you mean by that? Like if somebody says, oh, well, I've been looking for a solution. I have to do this now. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, if I don't do something now, then I'm going to be whatever. I'll not hit my sales goals. Well, tell me more about your sales goals. What are they? Where are you at now? And what is that goal? Like, why does this even exist right now for you? Like, what's been going on? And like, how have you been trying to solve this problem for yourself? Like, what are you doing? Or do you have any marketing, any training in place? Like, what's the current situation look like? Oh man, like, how long have you been dealing with this? Well, what do you feel the consequences would be if you decide like not to take any action and make a move forward? And this is a really good question right here, because this is something right here. This last one, I ask it in different ways depending on the conversation flow. But how much money do you feel you've left on the table by not solving, like having a CRM in place and having that text message automation and maybe letting your leads get really stale? This opens up a little bigger of a wound because people don't think about that. Especially for those of you guys in like any space, doctors, lawyers, realtors, mortgage guys. I mean, these guys are getting leads at $2, $3 per lead, and they're not set up to be sales organizations, even though sales is the lifeblood of a business. They just don't have all these systems in place. They get a lead, they call it, they don't answer, it's a shitty lead, or they lose it, it's on an Excel table or a piece of paper. It's just not as organized. There's no systems that you guys, you smart marketers out there now have access to. The go high levels, the active campaigns, all the software and the tech that you guys have studied so hard to put in place to make it part of your solution stack. So that's really a big question that helps us identify and let them write down how big of a problem it really is. Not just the goal of getting more leads, not just the goal of making more sales. What you already have has a big, huge gap for you too. So we're now solving for a bigger problem that they may not have thought of. So while we're going through any kind of sales questionnaires or process or discovery, I mean, just think of yourselves, honestly, put this in your state of mind. You're literally just trying to figure out what the problem is. You're not trying to solve it yet. What does it cost? Don't know. Can you help me? Not sure yet. You mind if I ask you some more questions? So you're literally just trying to solve this and understanding this current situation. Okay. So here are some more questions that you can go through as well. Like what here, I'll just read them for you guys. You can see them on the screen. Like, what is the number one roadblock for you right now? So I can better understand where we are. Where do you really want to take this thing? Like, if anything were possible, what would your ideal revenue be, say in the next 12 months from today? And then you stack it back to, are you ahead or behind your monthly target right now? I'm curious, what do you feel has stopped you right now from achieving this already? So there's various different ways to ask these same questions, like the second one below it. And then here is my trial close a little bit. So like, I want to kind of feel them out if they're really in a solution mindset. Like, I want to make sure that like, we're not on this call to just kind of get off of it and say like, hey, I'm not looking to solve my problems. I want to really know, like, are they really going to be wanting to implement a solution? So if you were to find a process or a way that could help you get you what you want, would you have the capital or even the time to implement this right now? So if somebody says yes to that, then we know that, hey, I do have the capital. I do have the time. I do have the desire. And then you could ask, like, what would that open up for you if you were to implement a solution that you knew would work? And then now you know the future state, where they would be. So now we've taught them how to think a little bit in the sense of, if I invest into a solution that I feel certain with, sky's the limit. So I'm not gonna go through every single one of these questions, but do you see how this can change the way you kind of ask questions by just don't assume the sale, don't assume you're right, don't jump down their throat. And when they say, I need leads, like, oh, I got you. Like, let me take you through our process. Our process is perfect for getting leads. So don't interrupt and take over and arbitrage the call. Follow the discipline of the process as best as you can, because when you start to skip steps, like internally, we have a lot of sports analogies. We call that high stepping. When you think you're too good to do the script, then you fuck it up. And then, like, I don't know if you remember the Dallas Cowboy guy where he's running into the end zone and about to score a touchdown, and some dude whacks it out of his arm and it goes back for a touchback. That was back in the 80s or 90s, I think. The Cowboys were good. That's what high stepping is. When you don't follow the process and you assume something that you shouldn't assume, you're the one that will be sorely mistaken, because that's when you'll get more objections. So when you've done a good discovery, you've kind of, the goals of a discovery that I look for, number one, I want to just say, like, is the timing now? Like, what is the timing looking like? Like, who's going to be making these decisions? Like, do we have partners? Do we have a wife? Do we have like a significant other? Is there who's involved in this? Could it be a totally third party company, like realtors? Like, they come on calls and then all of a sudden they want to run things by their broker or their wife or a lender that may be participating in it. So we want to dig into those so we know those scenarios in our industry, in our niche. So speaking of niches, this works really effectively when you're selling to a niche. So you can customize this to your prospect and the most common pains and scenarios. So now we've got time frame, we've got decision makers. The next thing is capital. Can they afford to invest into it, or are they willing to find a solution? And that's kind of like the three main categories that I really kind of look for. Timing being the last, like, do you want to do this right now, or do you want to delay? Let me go down to our presentation. Okay. So once we've determined what the pain of the customer is, whether it's leads or sales, or they need a CRM, they need an all-in-one solution, they don't want to work with 2-3 different like freelancers or whatever it may be, now we're going to be coming up with a way that we put this into place. So we'll tell them something like, hey, like, do you mind if I show you how we go about this process? And the way we deliver this is a 4-pillar approach. Now, the pillar number is not important. This could be 2, it could be 3, it could be whatever. But the whole goal is you're going to be doing this around their pain. So if you have like all these features and these benefits or these core competencies of your solution that are fucking awesome, you write them down in a story mindset. So we talk about, whenever we're doing coaching, we talk about niching and mindset. So if somebody hasn't found their niche, we're going to now help them determine their niche. So these 4 pillars are directly related to the pain, not to something else, because then you're going to be solving and selling them something they're going to feel that they're just paying extra for when they just don't need it. So we're going to literally focus in exactly what they told us. So here's some examples: niching and mindset, crafting an irresistible offer. This goes for any industry. Like, a lot of people don't make sales because they just have really shitty offers. I mean, like, you guys can probably feel that through cancellations when you get clients where it's like, oh, damn, the client's offer sucked. It was like a full price freaking offer. We have to disrupt ourselves from the marketplace in that industry that we're in. We have to come up with a value, especially if you guys are Facebook advertisers out there that go out and want to get people to click your ad for your clients, or your Google ad, or your YouTube video. So you need these things in place, and you're the expert that will help them craft this, because they don't have that expertise. And the way you explain, I'll give an example of how we explain in the presentation. Like, step number 1 is we'll help you craft an irresistible offer that our goal is to attract and inspire motivated in-market clients. Each phase is highly important, but this one is the one that we see in the marketplace that people just aren't very good at. So remember how you mentioned to me that you were running an ad that was a video that got a lot of views and a lot of clicks, but it just led to zero results, zero leads, and your team was kind of like deflated from it. Well, a couple tweaks from our magicians on our team will be able to fix that for you. Does that make sense for you? Do you have any questions around this area about how we would create the offer for you? Okay. So now I've done my checkdowns. Does that make sense? Like by implementing a better offer, do you feel that that would be a good starting point for you? So I just want to get there. I want to make sure that they understand what I've just explained, because if they're unclear, then they're not going to move forward with you. So write down sentences. You can screenshot this if you want. So I'll go through two more with our clients. I'll kind of explain to them, like, even if it's an end client, it doesn't have to be our coaching people, but like even with our realtors, we talk about sales process. We're going to share with you the success stories of the top agents in the country. In fact, the number 2 real estate team in the world. We're going to walk you through and share with you how they've seen success so we can knowledge transfer that to you. Would that be helpful for you? How so? And then I'll dig into it a little bit. I'll make sure I get feedback loops. So I want them to say things to me. So I'm always I'm always checking, and I'm not saying the same, like, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does this make sense? Like, I'm changing the language and the vocabulary because I don't want to sound like a freaking robot. I'm having a natural conversation here. And then once I'm done with the presentation part of the stages, then I'm going into, let me get down here so you can see I have a whole bunch of stuff here. Then I'll go into delivery, and I'll just say, look, well, those are the main pillars that we would be addressing for you. I mean, the next step would just be talking about how we can implement and deliver this to you. Would that be okay if we went over it? And then I'll explain my delivery process, saying, well, the next steps are, I'll go ahead and tell me your cell phone number and your email address, where you would like us to send you the leads, because then that you'll get an instant alert right away. So you can literally, like, if it's like 6 p.m. and you're just kicking it, watching Thursday night football, you can just look at your phone, tap the number, and just be on the phone with the lead instantly. Because if you don't call those leads in the first 5 to 15 minutes, then we're gonna have to wait 24 hours to the next day. And then our opportunity to reach that lead may require a lot more energy. That's why we're a big fan of focusing in on what we mentioned in our sales pillar, where the top agents follow this exact process. Are you cool with that? And then we're just slowly putting them into a natural close. And that's when we move them right into the close and just say, all right, it's just a 90-day program. We don't have long-term contracts. After our 90 days, that's when we've proven to you the whole system, the results. You've got used to everything. You've already started to make a bunch of ROI off of our program by implementing it. You've got all the training and foundation out of the way with us that we put into your business so you can grow and scale it. And then we'll talk about our other services that we may be able to layer in, and then also our 1-year program with you. So does that sound good if we start here and then we just go into the pricing and whatever your pricing is, and we lay out a couple options for them, saying like, well, we have a program that's $5,000. That's per month. So it'd be 15 for the first 90 days. You don't have to pay in full. Don't worry about that. But based on my assessment, I think you may be best for our $3,000 a month program. Would that be okay if we go over both options and then we'll just choose one? So I'm just doing a little bit of an anchoring of I'm weighing it up to the 5, then I'm making my recommendation to the 3, based on what I've now discovered through this phone call. And I know I've skipped some steps here as far as like being able to determine what their value is, what they're actually their revenue may be. But I'm basing this off of like, once I get to the end, I'll already have known that information or have a good idea of it. Or now I've got them so close to the end that all we're doing is just getting the paperwork out of the way, because now we have the gap. We've already identified the gap. We already have the $96,000 gap if they're going from 2 to 10 or 10 to 50 or 50 to 100. And depending on your ideal avatar of customer, if you're talking to a newer person, then you're going to be dealing with somebody that may not have a budget. You may have to have some sort of downsell, which I won't get into on this call, but simply the definition of a downsell is a foot in the door offer that is going to be at a price that you're maybe breaking even, preferably a profitable product and service to start your relationship, and then you restart the upsell process. Downsells are fantastic. We use those with like all the time, because it establishes trust. It allows the person to get a part of the program implemented into their business. And then we've just exchanged the trust, and now we can have that relationship where while we're helping them set things up or whatever that product is, we now have this conversation with them. We're now uncovering more pains. We're uncovering more value that we can add. We're getting to know the person a lot better. And then we can make more decisive recommendations. Because one thing that people don't do very well is allow people to get financing options. Because if money is the only reason somebody can't reach their goals, they're probably gonna be staying there for a long fucking time. Because if you look at a company like Facebook, like do you think Mark Zuckerberg in the movie Social Network, he didn't use his money? He just said, hey, let me borrow yours. I'll pay that shit back later. I'll give you a little piece of the action. That's what we need to also sometimes do. That's going to be a longer type of live, is financing options and getting rid of the money objection. But thinking about money, that's an important thing, is finding a way, a path, so you can grow your business. Just like I'm in a house right now. I didn't buy it for cash. I put a little bit of money down, and I took out a big mortgage that I just financed. And what the end result will be by borrowing some money and putting myself in this quote unquote debt, I'm in good debt. I'll now have a profitable asset that when I sell it, it's for a profit. Had I put cash down, one, I might not have been able to do that. But two, I would be cash poor now. Now I wouldn't be able to do shit for anything. I wouldn't be able to do any more. I would have no more investments. So it's the instant leverage. And that's one thing that we teach inside more in depth into our program. So I won't cover that here just yet. But once we're transitioning from the discovery from the delivery, step 5 is delivery, to the close, that's when we're really, like, it's a very natural thing. I kind of blend them almost together because I'm giving them the possession based on the questions about where do they want to get their leads, how many leads they want to get, how fast do they want to go. So I've got a lot of the information. So that's why I kind of blend these two together. And I already touched on price drops. When I say a little pressure, I mean, when you're close to going forward with a client and they're just like, I mean, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, or like, they're trying to convince themselves out of it. That's when you just put a little bit of easy pressure saying, you know what, let's get this thing out of the way. Let's celebrate you. Let's allow you and empower you to make this decision right here, right now, so we can make that change. We'll draw the line in the sand together. And then let's just hit these freaking goals. So the only thing we're going to look back at is wish we did this 6 months earlier. Natural close is when they say, hey, let's go for it. Downsell is if they're hesitant, they want to move forward, the cash flow issues, they don't want to start so high or so long term. Then we go with a downsell. Deposit. I don't like going over deposits too often, just because that's another can of worms, in the sense of like that we want to avoid deposits if we can, because we want to close, but we do deposits. Ben's really good at it now. Like he's taken deposits from clients that, like, they're on the fence, and we just say, all right, let us hold your spot. In order to do so, because we have to sell it, we have a couple slots available in the marketplace, we just take a $200 deposit or a $500 deposit, and that just keeps them on the hook for answering the next call. And then you decide from there, but you have a higher likelihood of keeping them. And then the dead lead. So if you got a dead lead of somebody that doesn't want to go forward with you, then likely you missed something or didn't hit their hot button, and it could be a budget issue. Cody had mentioned before, sometimes people are flat out not good fits, and that's why just understanding and discovering through the discovery process, getting as far deep as possible through that process, so you don't have to like run into it at the very, very end of the call. And then here's the price drop option. Like I have no problem with price drops, giving people like a discount, especially this time of year, holiday season, get revenue in. It's a good time for like people who make money to invest into their business. We've done the same ourselves. If somebody asked us to pay up front for something, we would do it just because we know the tax whatever I'm trying to say. Implications of reducing our revenue and putting it into an investment into our business for a discount to pay up front. So here's a line, if you want to screenshot this, of something you could possibly say if you're going to do a price drop. I used to use this all the time when I was selling a long time ago, like my first real sales job in credit card processing. It was the if I could line. If I can discount it by $500, would that be something you'd be willing to move forward with right now? And then I'd put them on hold, get manager approval, and they'd sign up because I already got the yes before I gave them a discount. Some people think this is frowned upon. I just think it's negotiation. No problem giving a discount if you're open to that idea, and they're willing to move forward with it. It opens up the relationship, but then it more importantly gives you a client that pays you cash flow and also an opportunity to be able to upsell them. And that's the most important thing, that once you acquire the customer, they're yours. You've already paid, you've already worked, or whatever, however you got them. Now sky's the limit. You can take somebody from $1,000 a month to $10,000 a month if you do a good job, if you're good with results and also good with relationships. That's not uncommon. We've done that a lot of times with a lot of clients. I mean, we've sold people a $150 banner ad, like a little fucking graphic, and then taken them to $5,000 a month retainers because they came in with one problem. We told them other solutions that we provide to other bigger problems we solve. And then they said, well, shit, I didn't know you did that. Let's go forward. It takes relationships. It takes time. But that's all learned behavior. It's all the patterns of sales. There's a lot of good things to learn, but this gives you overall structure of the most important parts. The first 3 steps is what I'd like you guys to kind of focus on the most, is because that's going to determine the outcome of the rest of the call. Because a lot of people miss so much shit early on in discovery that they just breeze right by things. They breeze right, like they'll say, oh, what do you do for marketing? Okay, I do Facebook ads, YouTube ads. Okay, cool. Well, what systems do you have in place? Like, you have to dig down when they say, when you ask what do you do for marketing, saying, okay, we're obviously on a marketing call. Like, what's been the problem that you're looking to solve in your marketing that's not working for you? What else? What else? What else? Like, dig into it, because then they're telling you exactly why they're on the call with you to begin with. And then you can determine if you can help them, because then you're creating that internal urgency and they're saying it themselves, because if they say it, they own it. If you say it, they doubt it. Okay. Now, when we're going for the close and they don't close, then we have our concerns. This is likely something where we missed in the discovery phase. That's where you just readdress it, like in the discovery, saying, oh, well, this sounds too expensive. Saying, well, tell me about that. What about it makes it expensive? And then you'll have to dig deeper of what is expensive to them, because maybe they didn't understand something. Because then you bring up the pains. Well, remember you told me you did this and this is the outcome and it was holding you back further. Well, to me, it seems it wasn't a sufficient solution. Can we agree on that? Does that make sense to you? So by implementing this full stack that we just went over in the presentation, do you feel that if it works as I'm explaining it works, that can get your business to the next level? And if they say yes, saying like, well, why don't we take an investment? We're only asking for a 90-day run, and then we're going to show you and prove to you that this is going to be a profitable solution for you. So then we can take bigger and better strides together after we just have this starting point and finally get you out of the situation that you're in. Because, I mean, if you've been in it for 2 years, gosh, I don't see you getting out of it in the next 2 more years, 4 years, 5 years. Things will get worse. You know what I mean? And then we just move them right along, because we just have to, we don't want to get into the negotiation, like the argument. Well, if you don't do it, you obviously know it's going to suck. Like, we don't want to be a dick. We just want to still be on their side, because we're still providing a solution. We're not a salesperson, right? We're still like their best friend, their doctor. We're looking out for their best interest. And then last bit is going to be next steps. So if you close the deal, get them booked on the onboarding, get the credit card, bill it, get the contract out after you bill it. And then if the next steps is a follow-up, then just book them on an appointment. Just saying, no problem. Like, I understand that you want to think about it. That's totally fine. I actually honor that. In fact, I do want you to think about a couple things. Can you get a piece of paper and a pen? I just want to give you a little bit of homework. So when we hop on the call, which we'll schedule in a sec, we can cover these topics, because you mentioned a couple things to me that I do want to touch on. And then I'll come up with one or two things that I want them to come prepared with. Like, it may be a list, like, how big is your database? Do you mind coming with like going through your databases? Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something, and tell me like a roundabout number of how many contacts you think. And out of those contacts, like, what percentage or how many can you think you can identify that would be good clients that we could possibly even start with, even if we started on a small scale with you. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of homework. And then I'll just rebook the call, and then we'll have our follow-up. So those are the 8 steps. And like this like process, like, scripts don't sell, like people do. So it takes like this, like when I said this is a small sliver of what we teach, even though it was like most of this was like a lot of mindset and stuff, like this is like a small subsection of what we teach in sales, because it's just a part of it, because we still need to have like everything else Cody showed in that graph of building a company. You still need a good offer. You still need a niche. You still need mindset. You still need support. You still need an offer that can fucking crush it, because if I had a shit offer, I probably wouldn't be able to sell it for the price I want to sell it for in the marketplace. So there's still a lot of things and pieces that go around this, because we need like all of these things churned together. But I'm a big wholehearted believer that once you kind of can master a little bit of psychology, some communication skills, be able to relate to people, kind of like, think about the best analogy I can give it to you is this way. Like, have you ever gone to a party, and brought a friend, and then nobody liked your friend and they thought they were a fucking jerk, or they were quiet or shy? But then you've also brought another friend, and that friend didn't even hang out with you, and you guys both had a fucking blast. You want to be that second person. You want to be that person that's a little bit outgoing, relatable, that can kind of go into a scenario and be able to communicate when they don't know what's going on. And that's kind of the best way that I've kind of been able to, like, best analogy I can have here is really kind of just get comfortable. Even if you're new, it's just all we're doing is saying words to other people that are saying, hey, Frank, hey, Cody, hey, Ben, hey, everybody, hey, Celeste, I'm interested in talking to you. We don't want to freeze up and be like, oh my God, holy shit, I'm fucking scared. You want to talk to me? Oh my God, I sell stuff. You want it? How do I do it? Like, we don't want to get into that scenario. We just want to say, like, all right, cool. Tell me why we're here. How can I help you? What seems to be the problem? How long have you been experiencing that problem? Well, what happens if nothing changes in, let's say, a year or 2 years down the line? Like, why now though? Like, let me go over our solution. See if this fits your bill. Like, you remember how you mentioned X? Well, that's why we do Y. Now, do you see how that can help you? Like, if we implemented that, will that scratch off one of the things off your list? Cool. Awesome. Mind if I go into the second step? Awesome. And then just kind of naturally have a conversation and get practice.
So let's talk a little bit about what happened once we implemented this with Cody. Okay, just to continue this story going a little bit. Suddenly, he was able to take those sales processes and some of the other stuff that we helped him do with the traffic and with everything else, and add $16K in new recurring, and then another $6K immediately after that. $22,000 in new recurring revenue. Guys, let me know what, just a one. I'd like to get you guys smash that one button. Would $22,000 in new recurring revenue change your guys' lives? Is that the kind of shit that you want to be able to implement and take things to the next level? Because by actually following some of these processes and actually putting all of the puzzle pieces together, he was able to master this skill and take that shit to the next level. And Jenna, I see your question there about getting the dot. We're not giving away the framework today with this training, but people who do book calls with us and all this kind of stuff at the end, which we'll talk about, we'll get that document later on. But for this training right now, we aren't giving that away. So make sure you're taking notes, following that stuff along, because that's reserved for the people in our program at this time. So as you can see, he took action and put it all together. And by working with us to actually fill in all the gaps, right? To absolutely master his traffic, organic traffic, paid traffic, his offer, his niche, by then implementing sales, by using the stuff we've sat here teaching you guys today, but also all the other pieces to the sales puzzle that we help you guys master and level up. And then by fully implementing systems that absolutely made sense, that created that foundation, that helped him build that house on the right pieces, he was able to actually take that and level up and cross $100,000 months. Now, guys, I put this picture right here. As you see, Rahul is in a good mood. He's in a good mood. There's an interview with him, with his full journey with us, all inside the GSD group. Some of you guys are watching this on Facebook right now. Hello. Hope you guys are having a good time watching this and commenting as well. And the rest of you guys that are live with us here inside the group, make sure you go check out that interview too, so that you can actually see what he actually did in his own words, because it's all sitting right there for you. This is the journey. We like to tell it a little bit, but it wasn't just him, guys. We have all kinds of students. Like I said, we've had dozens of students now cross the 5-figure a month mark. We've had 4, I think, students cross the $100,000 a month mark using these actual puzzle pieces, mastering every step of the way and taking full advantage of all of the different stuff that we do with people. We have all these screenshots that talk all about it and all of the deals that close. $1,500 a month clients, $1,250 a month clients, adding $25,000 to the revenue, putting, I can't even tell what's on here, $2,500 a month here. All of these people are just implementing the stuff that we talk about and taking their businesses to the next level by having the actual pieces in place, all right? Hitting $40,000 months, $80,000 quarters, and we had another one with $120,000 quarter just the other day. And by bringing it all together, guys, by having all of these puzzle pieces put in one place for you, you can join them, right? Because today we talked a little bit about this. And if you saw some value in that, which I know a lot of you guys did, then you guys will definitely see some value in the rest of it, in all of the other pieces that are sitting there waiting for you to help you level up your business and actually join these people who are crushing $100,000 months, who are crushing 5-figure months and 6-figure run rates. It's this kind of stuff, guys, having people who truly are in the mud right now with you guys rolling around in the dirt, because we still run our agencies, right? We still run 7-figure agency so that we can actually bring forth strategies that truly work, because we update and adjust and all of this stuff as we go along. And that's what we bring to the table to help you guys out. So I want to do one more exercise with you guys. I know okay, guys, you score 2 points for every piece that you have in your business that I'm about to go through. All right, and the result is any score over 7, and your agency is ready and able to crush 10 to 25K months in the next 90 days. So we're going to take you through it right now. So we're going to do this little exercise together. All right, guys. First, it's a minimum of 1 to 3 clients. Okay, you have a client. Really, that's all it is. If you have a client, I want you to take a piece of paper. I want you to jot down a little number 2 on that piece of paper, okay? So we got that written down. We're going to go down here. Then we've got revenue of around $2,000 per month right now from that minimum of 1 client. Now you're either jotting down a 2 or a 0, guys. If you have this, it's a 2. If you don't, it's a 0. Then if you have a niche or an offer idea, meaning you know the people you want to work with and you have a good idea of what you're actually going to do for them. You bring value to a specific type of person. If that's true, if that's correct, I want you to write down a 2. And if it's not, I want you to write down a 0. All right? Does that make sense? Perfect, guys. Cool. Then the next one, if you are committed to building your agency into a real business, as in it's not just a side hustle, it's not just a hobby, it's something you actually want to do and take your stuff to the next level, something you want to make into an actual business, an actual career. If that's true, put a 2. If it's not true, put a 0. And finally, you provide real value to your audience and clients. You have something to give them. You have something that will actually help them out. If that's true, guys, I want you to write down a 2. If it's not true, if you don't have any value to give them, I want you to write down a 0. Now, guys, I want you to add that all up, and I want you to put the number that you got. Let's go ahead and put myself, I got myself a 10 out of 10. Feel like I did pretty good. Frank's got a 10 out of 10 too. Good job, Frank. I love it. Lance got a 6. He's coming along. Who else we got? Rahul, what'd you get? What'd you score on there? You're not going to put 10? Puts the fingers out, says 10. Good. Commitment to take action. Good. That's the most important one, honestly. Being able to be okay with leveling that up and going to the next thing. Now, guys, here's the thing, right? If you've scored a 7 or over, if you've gotten some of these, you're ready to take this to the next level. You're so close to it, and you just need some leadership, I think, from people who have actually done it. In the same sense of what I've been talking about here for the last little bit, people who have not only taken themselves to that level, but confidently taken students multiple times to that level as well. And if you've hit that 7 mark out of these numbers, if you've taken yourself to that point, really you're on the ledge. You're on that teetering point for where you can actually commit to this and get to the next level and join all of these students who are just waiting for you. And guys, I really want to be that person for you. Me and Rahul, that's what we want to do with you. We want you to hop on a call with us so that we can show you the clear path, the journey, this exact way to get from point A, which is where you are right now, to point B, which is the goals that you all committed to earlier on. The stuff, the plan, the roadmap that you looked at, took a second, and knew that that's where you wanted to get to. That's what you wanted to commit to right now. We have one last thing to say to you guys. It's that we do guarantee $20,000 in brand new monthly revenue. Would that be worth it? Even if we just helped you increase your closing percentage by just 10 measly %, would that be worth it? Right? Because if you're answering yes to all of these questions, guys, we actually guarantee it. $20K in revenue by the end of graduation, or we work with you for free forever until you do. And all you got to do to get to that point, to talk to us a little bit about what we can actually do, to talk to us about what's involved in it and how we can actually absolutely take you down the same journey as what I showed you today for all of these students, for Cody, for all these guys, put all the pieces together for the puzzle. All you got to do is book that call, guys. That's the next step for you. And it's the next step for us to be able to show you truly a clear roadmap.
Thank you so much for spending the time to watch that amazing training. Like I mentioned previously, my intention is for you not just to watch that training, but if you got something out of it, if you think this information is useful, I want you to continue that journey with us. And you can do that in a couple of ways. One, I want you to smash that subscribe button so that you get notified every single time we put another one of these out, which will be at minimum once to twice per week. The other thing I want you to do is go ahead and click that next video right there beside you so that you can dive in and get shit done. Hope to see you out there.